This is PSN Newsrun, streaming exclusively on YouTube.
Our top stories for today: retired police officers take to the streets, demand for better pension package, and oil and gas suppliers push against Dangote's direct supply to major consumers. We begin with the Federal Capital Territory, where retired police officers took to the streets to demand for better pensions and urgent reforms, citing poor welfare and neglect after years of service. Sam filed in this report from the scene.
The protest has moved from the National Assembly, and right now they are the force headquarters. And if you can look behind me, they are screaming, "Our police be this, so we not get another one." Right now, screaming for a better welfare package. That is the word, a better welfare package for the pensioners of the Nigerian police force.
A group of retired police officers, including DSP Musa, who joined the force in 1989, have spoken out about the major gratuities and pension they receive. DSP Musa lamented that his gratuity is barely enough to sustain him, let alone support his livelihood.
When I go to IPPIS, they say they send my money to inspector who is still serving. How can they remove my money? They were even laughing at me. Somebody told me from that office that you don't even thank God that you retire with your life.
Isaac Fayose, brother of former Ekiti State Governor Ayo Fayose, has called on the federal government to increase the monthly pension package for police officers to 1 million naira. Fayose urged that the current pension structure is unsustainable in the correct economic climate.
I want to tell you something. If we keep going on like this every day, this will turn to EndSARS protest. If we continue like this and keep the pressure on, it will go nationwide and they won't be able to curtail it again. So it's better they come now, tell us what they are planning to do, and then give us time to implement our demands.
Meanwhile, activist Omoyele Sowore has taken a different approach, calling for a complete restructuring of the police force. Sowore specifically demanded the sack of the police force spokesperson ACP Muyiwa as part of the reforms. Sowore vowed that there will be no backing down until the issues are settled. The demands come amid growing concerns about the welfare of police officers, both serving and retired.
Because there are some policemen that are tired but are not retired. They should all leave. Some of these men, they might look old, but they are not tired. That is why they were able to work with us from the National Assembly to this place. We want police to be treated the way retirees are treated from the beginning of time. The way the IGP is going to retire is the way I want the police constable to retire. The IGP is going to get his entire salary for the rest of his life. There's no reason why a constable doesn't get his entire salary from the beginning of time to the end of his life. But we have made it very clear, it is not about retired policemen alone, it's about serving police officers as well. Because the misery about pension comes from the misery of police salaries.
After 35 years in service, the parting gift for a police officer is about 2 million naira from what we have gathered from the protesters. And a DSP who spoke to us told us he's earning 35,000 naira monthly. And looking at the current economic situation, that is quite meager and that is quite poor according to the protesters right now. They are being led by activists Omoyele Sowore. They have been called to go to the Peace and Resolution Hall for a meeting, but they stood their ground and said no. Some have come in from Nasarawa, some have come in from Niger State, some have come in from various neighboring states, neighboring the capital city, and they are here. We are hearing that Bauchi is also here protesting for a better welfare scheme, and they can't go to any hall. They have to be addressed right here so that they can get justice and they can get welfare, a better welfare package. And according to them, if they don't get a response today, they will be here again. This is Samuel Akman reporting for PS News from Abuja.
Meanwhile, a new wave of protests has hit the streets and the timeline under the viral hashtag Justice for Coastal Road. Joycelyn has all the details from the Center of Excellence.
At the heart of the storm is the ongoing Lagos-Calabar Coastal Highway project, a major federal infrastructure effort meant to boost trade and tourism along Nigeria's southern corridor. But for many homeowners in Lagos, it has brought something else entirely: demolitions, displacement, and distress. Dozens of properties have already been pulled down to make way for the road, leaving residents of affected communities scrambling, some with little to no compensation. Protesters say they are not against development, but they demand fairness, transparency, and proper engagement. Online, the conversation is booming. The hashtag Justice for Coastal Road is trending across platforms, with citizens, activists, and influencers alike calling out what they describe as development without humanity. So far, government officials have maintained that compensation is being handled accordingly, but protesters argue otherwise, insisting that many victims have been left in the dark. As Nigeria pushes forward with modernization, the Coastal Highway protests reveal a hard truth: progress must be people-centered, or it risks leaving the very citizen it claims to serve behind. Reporting for PS News, Joycelyn Ella Keche Ada.
Still on strike issues, hospitals across Nigeria may soon go quiet, not from calm, but from crisis, as doctors prepare to embark on a nationwide strike this Thursday. Let's hear the details from Joycelyn.
Nigeria's healthcare system is bracing for impact as doctors across the country prepare to down tools in a planned nationwide strike starting Thursday. The strike call comes from major medical unions and associations, following what they describe as years of neglect by the government. Key issues include unpaid allowances, poor working conditions, lack of medical supplies, and a severe shortage of healthcare personnel. Doctors say they've had enough. From general hospitals to teaching institutions, many claim they are overwhelmed, underpaid, and working in unsafe environments. The failure to honor past agreements has pushed them to the edge. With the strike looming, hospitals nationwide may be forced to scale down operations. Patients could face delays in treatment, especially in government-run facilities where millions depend on subsidized health care. So far, federal authorities have appealed for calm and promised renewed dialogue, but no solid agreement has been reached, and time is running out. With Thursday fast approaching, Nigeria stands on the edge of a healthcare disruption. The days ahead will reveal the strength of the system and the resolve of those working tirelessly within. Reporting for PS News, Joycelyn Ella Keche Ada.
And now to the oil and gas sector. A major shakeup is brewing in Nigeria's fuel supply chain as Nogasa raises the alarm over Dangote's refinery plan to bypass traditional distributors, sparking fears of massive job losses. Once again, Joycelyn takes it from here.
Tension is rising in Nigeria's downstream oil sector as the Natural Oil and Gas Suppliers Association of Nigeria, Nogasa, is kicking against Dangote Refinery's plan to supply petroleum products directly to end users, bypassing traditional suppliers. This move, set to begin on August 15, will see Dangote deploy 4,000 CNG-powered tankers to deliver fuel directly to large consumers like telecoms, manufacturers, and hotels. But Nogasa says this is a threat to thousands of jobs. Nogasa members, who traditionally act as intermediaries between refineries and final users, say the new model will render their roles and their employees redundant. According to Nogasa President Bennett Corey, truck drivers, depot workers, and logistics staffs could all face layoffs. He argued that while Dangote may be modernizing distribution, it's doing so at the expense of those who've built their livelihoods in the sector. To address the issue, Nogasa has scheduled a general meeting on July 31st in Abuja, where members may consider downing tools and push for a new arrangement, one where Dangote supplies through existing distributors instead of cutting them out. The association warns that sidelining suppliers could destabilize the industry's balance and weaken the economic ecosystem that supports thousands of Nigerian families. Reporting for PS News, Joycelyn Ella Keche Ada.
Behind closed doors and hidden walls, a dark trade is thriving in Nigeria. Baby factories are back in the spotlight, exposing a crisis of exploitation and silence. Tessa Phillips takes us through the report.
A chilling report published just days ago uncovers the grim reality of Nigeria's baby factories' clandestine facilities that trap women and girls under false pretenses and force them to bear children for sale. These illicit outfits are often disguised as clinics, orphanages, or social homes. Inside, victims, some as young as teenagers, are held hostage, impregnated, and coerced into childbirth. The babies are then trafficked or sold for adoption, particularly to desperate childless couples. The crisis is fueled by a toxic mix of extreme poverty, societal stigma around infertility, and skyrocketing demand for children, especially boys. Adoption via legal channels is often costly and difficult, pushing many toward the black market. Just recently in Abia State, law enforcement rescued 16 pregnant girls and 8 young children from a hidden facility. Those rescued range from ages 17 to their early 20s. NAPTIP confirms that in the past 5 years, authorities have shut down over 200 underground baby factory sites across the southeast and south zones. Still, new ones continue to emerge. NAPTIP Director General Binta Adamu Bello called the situation a disgraceful indictment of Nigeria's failure to protect human rights. She urged lawmakers to declare a national emergency, overhaul child protection laws, and introduce harsher penalties, including life sentences for operators and collaborators. This deeply disturbing industry is not only a symptom of systemic failure, it reveals the urgent need for stronger enforcement, legal reform, and societal change to protect the most vulnerable. The crisis of Nigeria's baby factories is one of coercion and commerce. It's a stark reminder that until poverty and stigma are confronted head-on, human lives remain at risk for sale. Tessa Phillips, PS News.
A political shakeup in Japan as Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba stays in power, despite a major election setback that could reshape his leadership. Let's join Marianne for all the details.
Japan's political scene is heating up after a major upset at the polls. Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba has declared he will remain in office despite his ruling coalition losing its majority in the upper house, a stunning electoral blow that sent shockwaves through Tokyo. The election result marked one of the most significant setbacks for a sitting Japanese leader in years. It put Ishiba in a tight spot just as the country grapples with rising inflation, struggling economic recovery, and increasing pressures from the US trade tariffs. Speaking at a press briefing, Ishiba took responsibility but stood his ground, saying he is now promising a cabinet reshuffle and a more people-focused agenda. But the loss weakens his legislative leverage and fuels speculation about his political future. Opposition parties are already pushing for a vote of no confidence, signaling a turbulent period ahead. For now, Ishiba stays, but the road forward may test both his leadership and Japan's political resilience. Marianne Awia, PS News.
Iran is turning up the heat on Europe, accusing key powers of breaking their promises under the 2015 nuclear deal just as tensions rise over threats of reviewed sanctions. Joycelyn takes us through this report.
Tensions are flaring once again over Iran's nuclear program. Tehran is accusing European powers, specifically Britain, France and Germany, of failing to uphold their commitments under the 2015 nuclear deal. The agreement, known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action, was designed to curb Iran's nuclear activity in exchange for the lifting of economic sanctions. But the deal began to fall apart in 2018 when then-President Donald Trump withdrew the United States and reimposed sweeping sanctions on Iran. European nations had promised to keep the deal alive, but according to Iran, that never materialized. Many Western companies pulled out of the country and the economic pressure on Tehran only deepened. Now, Iran says the Europeans are in no position to threaten sanctions. In a press briefing on Monday, Iran's foreign ministry spokesperson Ismail Bukhari called the European stance negligent and immoral. He added that Iran only began reducing its commitment after years. Iran is pushing back hard, accusing European powers of breaking their promise under the 2015 nuclear deal, just as new threats of sanctions resurface. Reporting for PS News, Joycelyn Ella Keche Ada.
You just watched PSN Newsrun, streaming exclusively on YouTube. This is your trusted voice for news that matters. Subscribe, like, share, and stay informed.